You are born under a silent sky. It is not truly empty. It is caged. A vast, shimmering curtain hangs across the heavens. We call it the barrier. It has always been there. A constant, oppressive glow in the night. It smothers the stars. It hums a tune only your soul can feel. A low, unending thrum of absolute power. Your first memory is of reaching for it. Your tiny hands grasping at the pale light, filtering through the nursery window. Your mother would pull you close. She would whisper stories of the old world, a world before the shimmer, a time when the sky was a deep, velvet black, a canvas painted with 1,000,000 diamond-sharp stars. But to you, that sounds like a fairy tale, as believable as a dragon hoarding gold. The barrier is your reality. It is a soft, milky ceiling that stretches from one horizon to the other. During the day, it dulls the sun's fire. It turns a brilliant yellow into a weary, pale white. Sunsets are not explosions of orange and red. They are gentle fades to gray, a slow, sad dimming of the light. The world beneath this celestial cage has adapted. Humanity has learned to live in the perpetual twilight. Our cities are built in sprawling networks of light. Glowing towers pierce the lower atmosphere. They try to imitate the stars we have lost. They are a poor substitute, a man-made constellation against a backdrop of cosmic denial. You grow up in one of these cities, a place of artificial brightness and deep, unspoken longing. You feel it in the quiet moments, the ache for something more, something real. You learn about the barrier in school. It is the first lesson in every star science class. They say it appeared centuries ago. Suddenly, silently. No one knows why. No one knows how. It simply was. A fact of existence as certain as gravity. Theories are plentiful. They range from a natural phenomenon to an ancient defense system. Some even whisper it is a prison, a cosmic timeout for a species that misbehaved. You do not care for the theories. You care about the feeling, the pressure. It is like living at the bottom of a deep ocean. The weight of the water above is always there. You can move. You can breathe. But you are always aware of the crushing depths held at bay. The barrier is your ocean. And you are a creature of the deep, yearning for the sunlit surface. Your parents worry about your obsession. They see the way you stare at the sky, your eyes tracking the faint, pulsing ripples that sometimes cross its surface. They encourage other hobbies, music, articles, something to ground you to the earth. But your heart is not on the earth. It is up there, pressed against the shimmering wall, wondering what lies on the other side. You are a child of the barrier, a captive of the silent sky. And you have a feeling, a deep, unshakable feeling, that you are the one who will find the key. The whispers start in the deep archives. You find them buried under mountains of digital dust. They are old data logs, fragments of a forgotten age. They speak of a different sky, a time before the silent hum, a time when humanity could touch the void. The logs are corrupted, riddled with gaps and static. But the message is clear. We were not always alone. You spend your nights bathed in the glow of the terminal. Your fingers dance across the holographic keys. You piece together the broken narratives. The logs tell of starships, great silver vessels that climbed into the black. They speak of colonies on distant moons, of brave explorers charting unknown courses. It sounds like pure fiction, a wild fantasy from a more imaginative time. But the data is there. Star charts, engine schematics, faint, ghostly images of men and women in strange suits. They are smiling. They stand on red, dusty plains under alien suns. Behind them, the sky is not a pale, milky sheet. It is a vast, dark expanse, teeming with unfamiliar constellations. The sight makes your breath catch in your throat. This was real. It truly happened. You uncover a name. Project Star Sail. It was humanity's grandest endeavor, a mission to reach the nearest star system. The logs are filled with excitement and hope. The entries become more frantic as they near the date of the barrier's appearance. The scientists of that time detected something, an anomaly at the edge of the solar system, a wave of energy moving faster than light. Then, nothing. The logs end abruptly. The last entry is a single, chilling phrase. The sky is closing. You feel a cold dread creep into your heart. They were not just whispers. They were warnings. The final words of a generation that saw the cage descend. They knew what was happening. They tried to tell us, but their message was lost, buried for centuries. You keep your findings to yourself. Who would believe you? The council would dismiss it as a fantasy. Your colleagues would call you a fool. They have all accepted the barrier as a permanent fixture, a law of nature. To suggest it was imposed upon us, that is heresy. It is a dangerous thought, one that could unravel the fragile peace of your world. But the thought has taken root. It grows in your mind like a stubborn weed. You look at the shimmering sky with new eyes, not as a natural wonder, but as a construct, a deliberate act. Someone or something built this cage, and you are determined to find out why. The whispers of the stars have become a roar in your ears, a call to action you cannot ignore. You are no longer just a dreamer. You are an investigator, and you have just found your first clue. Your life becomes a vigil, a long and lonely watch at the barrier's edge. You secure a posting at the most remote observatory on the planet. It sits atop the highest mountain peak, a place where the air is thin and the world is quiet. Here, you are closer to the shimmering veil than anyone else. You can almost feel its energy crackle on your skin. This is your sanctuary and your laboratory. Days blur into a routine of solitude. You wake before the dim dawn. You run diagnostics on the massive sensor arrays. You spend hours staring at screens of data. Most of it is noise, the steady, unchanging hum of the barrier. A cosmic lullaby that has driven other watchers mad. But you find a strange comfort in it. It is the rhythm of your adversary's heartbeat. You document everything, every flicker of light, every subtle shift in frequency. The barrier is not as static as most people believe. It breathes, it pulses, it has moods. Sometimes it is a calm, placid sea of light. Other times, it writhes with unseen currents. You create a new system of classification. You give names to the different states: the slow waltz, the nervous tremor, the silent scream. Your only companions are the automated systems and the occasional supply drone that brings you food and equipment. The drone's operator sometimes tries to make small talk. He asks if you are getting lonely. You just smile and say the view is good company. It is a lie. The loneliness is a physical presence, a cold weight in your chest. But you cannot afford to be distracted. You talk to yourself, a lot. It is a habit you picked up to keep your mind sharp. You debate theories with an imaginary colleague. You crack jokes that only the silent machines can hear. Well, Mr. Barrier, you might say after a long, uneventful shift. You're not much of a conversationalist, are you? It is a small act of rebellion, a way to retain your sanity in the overwhelming silence. Years pass. The face that looks back at you from the polished chrome of the console grows older. Lines form around your eyes, not from smiling, but from squinting at the endless scroll of data. You have sacrificed everything for this quest. Friends, family, the simple pleasures of a normal life. There are moments of doubt, dark nights when you wonder if you are chasing a ghost. But then, the barrier will do something new. A brief, unexpected flare. A string of pulses that does not fit any known pattern. And the fire in your soul reignites. You are not crazy. There is a mind behind this wall, a purpose, and you are getting closer to understanding it. You are the lonely watcher, the sole guardian of a forgotten truth. And you will not abandon your post, not until the sky opens. Then it happens, after years of the same old song and dance. The barrier changes its tune. It begins to display a new sequence. It is not a random flicker. It is a pattern, intricate, complex, and utterly baffling. A message that no one understands. The first time you see it, you think it is a system malfunction, a glitch in your sensors. You run every diagnostic you can think of. You reboot the entire observatory. But the pattern remains. It paints itself across the shimmering surface of the barrier. A flowing script of light and energy. It is beautiful. Terrifyingly beautiful. It is a language of pure mathematics and raw power. You feel like an ancient scribe staring at the first written word. You know it is important, but you have no idea what it means. The pattern is a complex dance of frequencies. It is a symphony of light waves. It repeats on a precise schedule. Every 17 hours, the show begins. It lasts for exactly 54 minutes. Then it vanishes without a trace. The barrier returns to its usual placid state, as if nothing had happened. You are the only one who sees it, the only witness to this silent cosmic broadcast. You work feverishly. You record every pulse. You map every wave. Your small outpost is filled with holographic projections of the sequence. They twist and turn in the air around you. A forest of glowing symbols. You try to find a key, a cipher. You run the pattern through every decryption algorithm known to humanity. The result is always the same. Gibberish, meaningless noise. It is infuriating. The answer is right there, displayed across the entire sky. But it might as well be written in an alien alphabet. You feel a new kind of frustration, the frustration of a scholar who has found a lost library. But all the books are locked. You pace your small habitat like a caged animal. You mutter to the silent projections. What are you trying to tell me? The thought occurs to you that maybe it is not a message for you. Maybe it is not for humanity at all. Maybe it is a signal for someone else, someone on the other side. This thought sends a shiver down your spine. Are we being watched? Is this a conversation happening through our ceiling? The idea is both thrilling and deeply unsettling. You have to tell someone. This is too big to keep to yourself. The risks are enormous. The council will almost certainly try to silence you, but the potential reward is greater. This is the first real change in the barrier in centuries. It is the first crack in the prison wall. You package your data. You encrypt it with your strongest codes. You send it to a single, trusted contact deep within the government. And you wait, knowing that your lonely vigil is about to end. And a new, more dangerous chapter is about to begin. The world's leaders convene. They meet in hushed, secret halls, far beneath the bustling cities, in bunkers designed to withstand any catastrophe. Your data has thrown them into a panic. The complex patterns you discovered are now projected onto vast screens. The leaders stare at the glowing symbols. Their faces are grim. They fear the message is a warning, a prelude to their doom. The chamber is a circle of fear. Generals whisper of preemptive strikes. Scientists talk of energy signatures beyond their comprehension. Politicians argue about public disclosure. They are terrified of the chaos that would erupt. If the world knew the sky was talking, the fragile stability of their society would crumble. So they do what leaders always do in times of crisis. They argue. You are summoned to this secret gathering. A small, holographic projection of you appears in the center of the room. You feel like a ghost at a feast. The leaders turn to you. Their eyes are filled with a mixture of awe and suspicion. They ask you to explain your findings, to decipher the alien script. You tell them what you know, which is very little. It is a language, you explain. Your voice echoes in the cavernous hall, a language of pure energy. But I do not have the key to translate it. A grizzled general with a chest full of medals scoffs. Then it's a threat, a declaration of war. We should be powering our defenses, not trying to talk to it. He bangs his fist on the table. We must show them we are not afraid. You shake your head. You are wrong, General. Fear is the one thing we cannot afford right now. You point to a section of the flowing pattern. Look at the elegance of it, the mathematical precision. This isn't the work of a mindless aggressor. This is the work of an artist, a composer. Your words are met with skeptical silence. The idea is too foreign for them to grasp. The debate rages for days. Factions form. The hawks who want to fight. The doves who want to understand. You are caught in the middle, a lonely voice of reason in a chorus of fear. You try to make them see what you see. Not a threat, but an invitation, a puzzle waiting to be solved. They could have destroyed us at any time, you argue. The power in that barrier could wipe this planet clean in a second. But it hasn't. It waits. But fear is a powerful motivator. The Council leans toward a military solution. They begin drafting plans to attack the barrier, to fire their most powerful weapons at the shimmering sky. It is a suicidal plan, a child throwing a rock at a mountain. But they are desperate. They would rather die fighting than live in suspense. You feel a profound sense of despair. They are going to make a terrible mistake, a mistake that could cost humanity everything. You have to find the key. Before they doom you all, you retreat from the world of politics and fear. Back to your lonely mountain peak. You know the Council's path leads only to ruin. There must be another way. You turn your attention away from the barrier's message and focus on the barrier itself. You dive back into your years of data, searching for something you might have missed. A new perspective is needed. The breakthrough comes late one night, fueled by stale coffee and sheer desperation. You are reviewing the barrier's energy absorption rates. It has always been a strange reading. The barrier seems to absorb certain types of energy, while reflecting others. It is selective, almost discerning. You had always assumed it was a feature of its defensive systems, filtering out harmful radiation. But what if it was filtering for something else? You start to cross-reference the absorption data. You compare it with historical records, global energy outputs, solar flares. You even look at geological data, tectonic shifts, volcanic eruptions. You are looking for a correlation, anything that might explain the barrier's selective taste in energy. And then you find it. It is so faint you almost miss it. A tiny, almost insignificant spike in the data. It corresponds with a major global event from decades ago. A day of worldwide mourning. commemorating the anniversary of a great tragedy. On that day, the barrier's energy absorption changed. It became more receptive for a few short hours, as if it was listening. Your heart begins to pound. This is impossible. It makes no sense. But the data is there. You frantically search for other instances. Another spike during a global vigil for a plague's victims. Another during a moment of shared planetary grief. The pattern is undeniable. The barrier is not reacting to physical energy. It is reacting to emotional energy. The truth hits you like a physical blow. The barrier is not a wall of force. It is not a prison. It is a sophisticated filter, an empathy engine of unimaginable scale. It is not looking for a weapon or a password. It is searching for a specific key, a key that has nothing to do with technology and everything to do with what it means to be human. You laugh, a wild, unhinged laugh that echoes through the empty observatory. It is the most absurd, most brilliant thing you have ever conceived. For centuries, humanity has been trying to break the barrier with rockets and lasers. We have been trying to pick a lock with a hammer. When all this time, the key was inside us. The discovery fills you with a sense of wonder, but also a sense of urgency. The Council is still planning its foolish attack. You have to show them the truth. You have to prove that the path forward is not through violence, but through feeling. You have just discovered the lock. Now, you need to find the specific, emotional key, the one that will finally open the door. The revelation of the empathy engine sends you spiraling down a new path. If the key is not technological, then it must be something else, something buried deep within the human experience. You turn to the oldest records you can find, not star science logs, but poetry, philosophy, mythology, the forgotten wisdom of the ancients, the heritage humanity left behind when it reached for the stars. You find recurring themes, fables of gods who demand not sacrifice of treasure, but of the heart, stories of gateways that open only for the pure of spirit. The ancients seem to understand something that your modern world has forgotten, that the greatest powers are not external, they are internal. They reside in the depths of consciousness. One particular set of texts catches your attention. They are the writings of a pre-barrier philosophical movement. They called themselves the Core Seekers. Their central belief was that humanity's destiny was not in the stars, but within themselves. They wrote of a great filter in the cosmos, not a physical barrier, but a spiritual one. They believed that only species that achieved a certain level of emotional maturity could transcend it. At the time, they were dismissed as mystics, as fools who stood in the way of progress. But reading their words now, you feel a chill run down your spine. They were not mystics. They were prophets. They predicted the barrier, or at least the principle of it. They knew that true advancement was not measured in faster than light travel, but in the capacity for empathy, for love, for sorrow. This lost heritage provides the context you need. The barrier is not a punishment. It is a test, a cosmic final exam. It is waiting for humanity to prove that it has graduated from its selfish, violent adolescence. It is waiting for us to show that we can feel, truly and deeply, not just for ourselves, but for each other, for the universe. The idea is so simple and so profound. It reframes everything. Humanity has not been a prisoner. It has been a student, enrolled in a school for the soul. And we have been failing for centuries. We have been so focused on breaking out of the classroom, we never stopped to read the lesson on the board. You now understand the new pattern in the sky. It is not a threat. It is a prompt, a final exam question It is asking for a response, a demonstration of our emotional growth. The complex mathematical beauty of it is the language of a higher consciousness, a consciousness that communicates not in words, but in feelings, in resonant frequencies of the soul. A great weight settles upon you. The fate of the world does not rest on a weapon or a strategic decision. It rests on an emotion. But which one? The core seekers wrote of many: love, joy, compassion. But the barriers seem to respond most strongly to shared grief, to a collective sense of loss. You are close. You can feel it. The key is not just an emotion. It is a specific one. The one that defines our humanity perhaps more than any other. You propose a radical theory, so strange it borders on madness. You present your findings to the council, not in person this time. Your holographic form stands before them once more. But this time, you do not speak of energy signatures or decryption keys. You speak of sorrow. You propose that the barrier will respond to a powerful, genuine human emotion. The council chamber is silent. The leaders look at your projection as if you have lost your mind. The grizzled general laughs out loud. Sorrow? You want us to cry our way through an alien barricade? That is your grand strategy. His voice drips with sarcasm. Perhaps we should tell it a sad story. Maybe it will feel sorry for us and let us out. Others are not so quick to dismiss it. The more thoughtful members of the council look at the data. They see the undeniable correlation between global mourning and the barrier's receptiveness. It is a wild idea. But the numbers support it. A quiet, academic woman, the council's lead sociologist, speaks up. Emotion as a force of nature. It is not without precedent in our own biology. A mother's love can grant her impossible strength. Perhaps there is a cosmic equivalent. You press your advantage. The barrier is an empathy engine. It has been testing us, judging our emotional maturity. The new pattern is the final question. It is asking for a demonstration, a proof that we are ready. You pause, letting the weight of your words sink in. I believe the key is sorrow, not despair, not anger, but pure, unadulterated sorrow. It is the emotion that connects us most deeply, the shared experience of loss. The general is still unconvinced. So what do you suggest we do? Order the entire planet to be sad on command? It won't work. It has to be real. You said so yourself. He has a point. A manufactured emotion would be a lie. The barrier would know. It has to be genuine. It has to come from a place of true, profound pain. A heavy silence falls over the room. The leaders look at each other. Who among them could summon such a feeling? Their lives are ones of power and privilege. They are insulated from the raw, sharp edges of human suffering. They are leaders, not feelers. The sociologist looks at you. Her eyes are filled with a dawning, terrible understanding. It has to be you, she says softly. The watcher, the one who has sacrificed everything, the one who has felt the loneliness of this vigil most keenly. All eyes turn to your holographic form. You feel a cold knot of dread form in your stomach. They are right. If this theory is to be tested, you are the one who must do it. You must be the source. You have to find a pain inside yourself deep enough, pure enough, to resonate across the heavens. The cosmic test requires a personal sacrifice, and you are the chosen offering. To test this theory, you must go to a place you have not visited in years, a locked room in the back of your mind. You must revisit your deepest loss, a memory you have suppressed with all your strength. The council gives you the go-ahead. The fate of the world now rests on the contents of your own heart. You sit alone in the observatory. The humming machines are your only audience. You close your eyes, and you let the walls come down. The memory is of a person, someone you loved more than life itself, a partner, a companion in the truest sense of the word. You had a life together before the vigil, a life filled with laughter and warmth. You shared dreams. You planned a future that did not involve a lonely mountain and a silent, shimmering sky. You see their face as clearly as if they were standing in front of you. The way their eyes would crinkle when they smiled. The sound of their laugh, a sound you have not heard in decades. They were a pilot, a brave, reckless soul who flew supply drones to the most dangerous outposts. They loved the sky, even the caged sky. They used to joke that they were flirting with the barrier, trying to get its attention. One day their drone encountered a freak atmospheric disturbance, a violent, unpredictable storm that appeared out of nowhere. A storm of a kind that had never been seen before. You were on the comms. You heard everything. The crackle of static, the rising panic in their voice, the desperate struggle with the controls. You were helpless, 1,000 miles away. A voice on a radio. You talked to them until the very end. You told them you loved them. You heard their last ragged breath. And then there was only silence. The same oppressive silence as the sky above. The grief was a physical thing. It hollowed you out. It stole the color from your world. It was why you took this post, this lonely vigil. You came here to be closer to them, to the sky that took them from you. You buried the pain under layers of work and duty. You convinced yourself it was the only way to survive. But the pain was still there, a sleeping giant in the cavern of your soul. Now, you must wake it. You force yourself to relive every moment. The frantic comms chatter, the final static-filled goodbye, the crushing weight of the silence that followed. You let the grief wash over you, the raw, undiluted agony of it. There is no filter, no intellectual distance, just the pure, elemental force of your loss. The observatory around you fades away. There is only the memory and the pain, the overwhelming, all-consuming pain. A single tear escapes your eye. It is not a tear of self-pity. It is a tear of pure sorrow, an offering, a distillation of every lonely night, every silent scream of your heart. It is the culmination of a life defined by loss and by a stubborn, unwavering hope. The tear hangs on your eyelash for a moment, a tiny, perfect sphere of liquid pain, a single human tear, containing the weight of a shattered heart. The tear falls. It is a slow, silent descent through the still air of the observatory. It seems to hang in space for an eternity, a tiny, glittering jewel of sorrow. It falls toward the central console of your station, the polished chrome surface that has reflected your weary face for so many years. You do not move. You do not breathe. You simply watch, as if the fate of the universe hangs on this single, tiny drop. It hits the console, not with a splash, but with a sound, a single clear note that rings through the silence. It is not a sound from the console speakers. It is a sound that blooms inside your mind, a note of impossible purity, and it resonates. The low, oppressive hum of the barrier, the constant background noise of your entire life, begins to change. The hum falters. It stumbles, like a record skipping a beat. Then it begins to climb. The pitch rises steadily, not into a scream, but into a tone. A clear, beautiful, resonant tone. It is the sound of 1 billion crystal glasses being struck at once. The sound of a star being born. The air in the observatory begins to shimmer. The machines around you glow with a soft, ethereal light. The pattern of light on the barrier's surface, the complex, alien script, dissolves. It melts away, replaced by a single blinding point of white light. It appears directly above your observatory, a new star in the pale, milky sky. And it grows. The light spreads outwards in a perfect circle, pushing the shimmer of the barrier away. You can feel the tone in your bones, in your teeth. It is a feeling of release, of a great tension finally letting go. The council is watching. They see the change on their screens. The generals are silent. The scientists are weeping. They are witnessing a miracle brought about not by a weapon, but by a memory, a single, painful memory, and the tear it produced. The single note holds. It builds in intensity. It is a sound of pure, unadulterated hope. It is the sound of a lock finally turning, of a door swinging open. The light expands faster and faster. It consumes the pale glow of the barrier, replacing the dull white with a brilliant, vibrant silver. You look up through the observatory's dome. You see the light, and you know that everything is about to change forever. The drop has hit the console, and the symphony has begun. The sky breaks, not with a crash, but with a song. The single, clear tone splinters into a million different harmonies. The silver light fractures. The barrier, the ancient, unbreachable cage, shatters into a cascade of crystalline shards. They do not fall. They drift. They float downwards like gentle, glittering snow. The sound is not an explosion. It is the birth of a new era. A sound of pure, joyous liberation. From your mountain peak, you have a perfect view. The world is bathed in the light of the dissolving barrier. The shards catch the dim light of the sun and refract it into a billion rainbows. The pale, milky sky is gone. For the first time in your life, for the first time in centuries, you see the true sky, a deep, impossible velvet black. And the stars. Oh, the stars. They are not the faint, distant smudges from the old data logs. They are fierce, brilliant diamonds, pinned to the blackness. They are more numerous than you could have ever imagined. Great clouds of them form glowing rivers across the heavens. Nebulae bloom in vibrant clouds of pink and blue. The universe is a work of art, and humanity has been staring at the back of the canvas. Around the planet, people pour out into the streets. They look up in stunned silence. For generations, the sky was a symbol of limitation, a ceiling on their dreams. Now, it is an open door, a gateway to infinite possibility. A collective gasp circles the globe, followed by a wave of joyous shouts, laughter, and tears, not of sorrow, but of wonder. The shards of the barrier continue their slow, graceful descent. They do not burn up in the atmosphere. As they touch the ground, they dissolve into harmless motes of light. They land on rooftops, on fields, on upturned, wondering faces, each one carrying a faint echo of the celestial song. It is a baptism of light, a cleansing of the old world. The council is speechless. Their plans for war, their fears of annihilation, they all seem so small and foolish now. They watch their screens, not with fear, but with a profound sense of awe. They have witnessed the impossible. They have seen a single human tear shatter a cosmic barrier. The general, the one who mocked your theory of sorrow, simply stares. A single tear of his own, tracing a path through the weathered lines of his face. You stand up from your console. You walk to the observatory's main window. You press your hand against the cool glass. Outside, the world is transformed. The long, lonely vigil is over. The silence has been broken. The cage is gone. You look up at the sea of stars, at the infinite, beautiful, terrifying expanse. And for the first time, you do not feel small. You feel connected, part of something vast and wonderful. The shattering was not an end. It was the true beginning. As your eyes adjust to the sudden, glorious darkness, you see them, beyond the broken field of the barrier. They are waiting, patiently, silently. Massive ships. They are unlike anything you have ever imagined. They are not made of metal. They seem to be grown, not built. Their forms are organic, swirling, graceful shapes that look more like deep-sea creatures than starships. They hang in the void like a celestial court, unmoving. Their hulls are a pearlescent white. They seem to absorb the starlight and glow from within. They are immense. The smallest of them dwarfs your largest city. The largest is a continent of flowing, elegant curves. They are a testament to an age and a technology that your mind can barely comprehend. There is no sign of aggression, no weapon ports, no defensive screens. They simply float, observing, as if they have been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. You realize that they were always there, just on the other side of the shimmering veil. They were the source of the hum, the mind behind the message, the architects of the test. On the ground, the initial euphoria gives way to a new emotion, a profound sense of awe mixed with a healthy dose of fear. The sight of the silent fleet is overwhelming. They are real. Aliens. The great, unanswered question of humanity has just been answered. And the answer is more spectacular and intimidating than anyone had dared to dream. The Council is in a state of controlled chaos. Every telescope on the planet is pointed at the silent armada. Scientists are babbling about impossible energy readings, about ships that seem to bend space-time around them. The military is on high alert, but they know their weapons are meaningless. Pointless toys against beings who could build a cage around a star. You, however, are not afraid. You feel a strange sense of calm, a sense of recognition. You look at the majestic, silent ships, and you feel a connection, the same connection you felt when the barrier shattered. You understand that they are not here to conquer. They are here to welcome. You have passed their test. You have proven that humanity is ready. You have shown them the power of a single tear. And now, they have come to greet the graduate. Then, a voice enters your mind. It is not a sound. It does not travel through your ears. It blossoms directly in the center of your consciousness. It is calm, ancient, and filled with a warmth that dissolves all fear. It is a telepathic message, a voice that has crossed the void of space to speak directly to you. Welcome, the voice says. The word is not in any human language, but you understand it perfectly. It is a concept, a feeling of greeting and acceptance. The long silence is over. The voice is like a gentle river. It flows through your thoughts without disturbing them. It feels more natural than your own inner monologue. Who are you? You think. The question is a clumsy, stumbling thought compared to the elegance of the voice. We are the watchers, the voice replies, as you were a watcher. We have tended this garden for an age, waiting for a flower to bloom. The metaphor is simple, but it carries a universe of meaning. You see flashes of images in your mind, not pictures, but feelings. The feeling of immense time, of patience beyond human comprehension, of a deep and abiding love for all life. The voice continues. Your species has reached the threshold, the moment of awakening. The barrier was not a prison. It was a chrysalis, to protect you, and to protect the cosmos from you. during your turbulent youth? The truth of this resonates deep within you. It makes perfect, simple sense. My tear, you think. That was the key? It was the proof, the voice clarifies. We did not need your sorrow. We needed you to understand its value, to embrace it not as a weakness, but as a strength, a conduit for connection. A species that can feel loss so deeply can also feel love just as deeply. Your tear was a signal, a sign that your emotional core had stabilized, that you were ready for the conversation. You realize the voice is not just speaking to you, it is speaking to everyone. Across the planet, people are standing still. Their eyes are wide. They are all hearing the same message, the same calm, ancient voice. It is a global revelation, a moment of shared consciousness that unites humanity in a way it has never been before. The voice speaks of a reunion, of a family of star-born races waiting to welcome humanity back into the fold. It speaks of a heritage far older than the one you discovered in the data logs. A heritage that stretches back to the dawn of life in this galaxy. You are not alone, the voice concludes. You have never been alone. We have been waiting. Welcome home, little sister. The words are a balm on the soul of a species that has always felt adrift and lonely in the cosmos. The voice across the void has not brought a warning. It has brought an invitation. The voice of the Watcher explains everything. The calm, ancient thoughts flow into the minds of every human, unveiling the grand, cosmic purpose behind centuries of isolation. The barrier, you learn, was a quarantine, a standard procedure for a young, promising species exhibiting dangerous tendencies. It was a test, the ultimate final exam for a civilization on the brink of cosmic citizenship. The Watchers are not conquerors, they are guardians, a coalition of ancient star-born races. Their task is to nurture emerging intelligences, to guide them through their volatile adolescence, to prevent them from harming themselves or the delicate galactic ecosystem. They have seen countless species rise and fall. Some self-destruct in flames of nuclear fire. Others turn their worlds into toxic wastelands. They built the barrier to prevent humanity from becoming another tragic statistic. They had been watching since the first primitive tools were fashioned. They saw the spark of genius, the capacity for art and music. But they also saw the tribalism, the endless wars, the casual cruelty. They saw a species with the intellect of a god and the emotional control of a frightened child. So they waited. They gave humanity a safe space to grow, a cosmic nursery, where our tantrums could do no harm beyond our own solar system. The test was simple. Could we mature? Could we evolve beyond our self-destructive impulses? The key was never technology. They knew we would eventually master the atom and the star drive. The key was empathy. The test was whether we could learn to feel, to connect, to value emotional depth over brute strength. Your single tear was the final data point they needed. It was not just an expression of personal grief. The empathy engine analyzed its resonance. It was a tear of pure sorrow, unburdened by anger or desire for revenge. It was a tear of acceptance, a tear that mourned a personal loss, but also held a universal truth about love and connection. It was the tear of a mature soul. It proved that at least one human had achieved the emotional state required for peaceful coexistence. And through you, they saw the potential for all of humanity. Your act of deep, personal introspection was a sign that the species was ready to look inward, not just outward to the stars. The massive, silent ships begin to move. not with a roar of engines, but with a graceful, silent glide. They arrange themselves into a new pattern, a vast, welcoming gate. The voice returns, one last time, to every mind on Earth. The quarantine is lifted. The test is over. Your education is complete. The universe awaits. Take your first step. You stand at the window of your observatory. The lonely mountain peak that was your prison is now a gateway to the stars. The world you knew is gone. A new, larger, more wonderful reality has taken its place. You, the lonely watcher, have become the fulcrum of history, the one who opened the door, not with a weapon, but with a memory, not with a bang, but with a single human tear. Humanity's childhood has ended, and a new cosmic day is dawning.